The first thing you'll notice on the interior of the Volt is how much it shares the Chevrolet DNA. It's the result of years of design studies to make it refined and to ensure that the future feels familiar. After all, despite the high-tech propulsion system and cutting-edge electronics, in a way, you want this car to be simple. You need to be comfortable, engaged, and confident in every driving situation. Right in front of the driver is a configurable instrument cluster. It's a high-resolution, full-color display. To the right, the center stack includes a 7-inch high-res touchscreen display. This is the primary interface for all infotainment and climate controls. It is also home to the navigation system and is used to provide more detailed information on energy usage, power flow, and configuration of the charging plan. Some of the controls you see on the center stack are non-mechanical and touch-sensitive. The Volt is always at work to keep you informed right from the moment you get in the driver's seat. As soon as you open the door, the Volt wakes up and gives you a peek at the status right on the instrument cluster.
Is it just how much electricity is in the battery?
It's actually more than that. In addition to telling you whether you're plugged into a 120 volt or 240 volt circuit, it will report that you're plugged in and it's still charging, or that Volt is plugged in and fully charged. You might also see that your Volt is set for delayed charging. Now, other messages include not plugged in, or not plugged in and fully charged, or not able to charge due to a system fault. The real point is that it will tell you this information without you having to ask. And if you don't start the car, Volt will go back to sleep until you're ready to do something.
So how do you start the car?
Pretty much like any other push-button start vehicle. Go ahead and step on the brake and push the blue start button.
Oh, that is cool. It's absolutely quiet. So if I was to put it in gear, I could drive away right now.
Simple as that. Let's talk about some of the graphics that you might see while you're driving. The battery gauge is colorful and prominent, and you'll notice that the gas gauge is grayed out right now. If you reach a point in your driving that the onboard generator has to come on, the battery gauge will gray out and the gas gauge will be brighter. Now, even though you might not hear the engine, you'll know that you're driving in extended range mode.
I read that the Volt gives you feedback on your driving, whether or not you're being efficient. What's that about?
Well, there are two ways to set up the cluster. You can keep it in simple mode or change it to enhanced mode, which gives you an efficiency gauge. This graphic shows a rotating green ball in the center of a vertical gauge. The idea is to keep the sphere balanced in the middle. So if the ball turns yellow and travels above the center of the gauge, the vehicle is accelerating too aggressively to achieve efficiency. If it travels below the center of the gauge, you're braking too aggressively to recapture energy from regenerative braking. Now, what else do you see on the instrument cluster?
Well, it looks like the driver information center is in the center. I'm guessing that it covers a lot of info in a car like this. How does it work?
The controls for the DIC are located on the instrument panel to the left of the steering wheel. There's a rotating controller to select the function, a config button, and a back button. So turning the controller rotates the visual carousel of choices. Now this includes 2 trip odometers, oil life, tire pressure monitoring, vehicle messages, and units, which lets you change the readout from US to metric units.
It seems like a lot to remember.
Well, it might seem that way at first, but the DIC has a helpful function that I don't think you've seen before. When you're in park, you can access a tutorial that shows right up on the screen, and it shows the meanings of the displays.